I don't have anything prepared. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. What's up, everybody? How was your weekend? How was your weekend, everybody? Yo, you guys know you don't have to. You guys know you don't have to sub, right? We. If there's any point in my life where I didn't need the extra money, it's right now. Leviano, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Well, I don't have much prepared in terms of what to say and everything. I don't know what to say, but thank you all so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here the last couple months. Thank you for rooting over the weekend. Yeah. I've waited a long time for this. No, we're gonna do a recap and everything today. I have what we're gonna do. I've opened some links and stuff that I wanted to talk about, but for now, just welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Um, yeah, I don't know. I guess I want to say I want to start by shouting out the team as well, because this was obviously a team event, not just a solo World Championship like it is in the TCG. And I want to give a huge shout out and congratulations to Quantal and Emre. Thank you guys for sticking with me. Thank you guys for all the preparation, all the time we put in, and how you guys performed at the event. I know that both of you were not as, as used to playing under as much pressure, and I think you did great. Both of you deserve this as well. So yeah, thank you guys. I couldn't have asked for better teammates. And congratulations to both of you as well. And I also want to give a huge shout out to our opponents in the finals, who I firmly believe would have deserved winning world championships, winning the world championship as much as we would have. Jesse, Ryan, and Ray were probably the hardest opponents out of the field for the finals that I could have imagined. And I think it was at this point of the tournament, it was literally just down to whoever would like draw better in the finals, or all that stuff. So I think you guys did great too, and I think you guys would have deserved a world championship win, the exact same amount as us. So that's that. Yeah, that is just some things that I wanted to get out of the way. That is some stuff that I wanted to get out of the way before we start going into anything else. But yeah. No, thank you all so much. I really I felt a lot of pressure before this event, because I knew, because of like content creation and everything, there would be even more eyes on my performance as usual. And yeah, no, but I thank you all for all the support. And I really felt how many people were rooting for us, and it really meant a lot to me. So yeah, thank you. And I don't really have words for how happy I am that after having played this game pretty much for my entire life, I can call myself a world champion. Yeah, yeah. It still feels unreal, by the way. It still feels unreal. But I guess it's not unreal. Okay, so what do we do today? I guess we're gonna talk about the weekend. This is also the only stream this week, by the way. I am incredibly tired, and I've told you guys this before the World Championship as well, is that I'm gonna go on a holiday with my fiance, because I have spent not enough time. I did not spend enough time with my fiance for the last couple of weeks. And we have planned a nice little holiday. So I'm gonna be gone for a week. But I feel like I deserve a week off. I feel like I deserve a week off. So we're gonna celebrate today. We're gonna celebrate today, and then we're gonna be on a week's break. And then we'll return to, I guess, business as usual in just a bit. But for now, that is that. Yeah. I guess that's the intro to the stream. Welcome everybody. We are celebrating today. I just want to I figured we could recap the event a little bit, talk about everything, you know, how we built our decks, how the tournament went for us, how you know, how the matchups went, how what we expected from the other players and what they actually brought. All that kind of good stuff. And also talk about some of the other things that were going on. I also want to take a look at the opening ceremony from the stream perspective, because I only saw it from backstage. Basically, I only heard it. So I wanted to quickly look at that as well at some point. But yeah. What was your thoughts on sharing talents rather than called by or imperm? Okay, we can start with that actually. We can start with the lineup construction, everything. Let me boot up Master Duel real quick. And then we can talk about that. I think it's fine if we skip the warm-up today. I think we can skip the warm-up today. I think everyone's already here. Want to talk about the venue of day one? We can talk about it. I don't think it's as big of a deal as you guys are making it out to be, but we can talk about it. Did Quantal play 2 Rhodas? No, there was just no Rhoda in the Sky Striker deck. Okay, hold up. Okay, there we are. Oh yeah, when do you guys get your... Do we get these already? No, right? When do you get it? Oh. From after maintenance on... Oh, tomorrow. Okay. What's the price? Well, I don't know. I don't know exactly what you get. Hold up. Well, I voted for us, so what I got was pretty good. I have all of our decks here. Show the trophy? I can't show the trophy. I don't have it. I don't have the trophy. They're sending it. They're sending it. They're like, and they're engraving the name and everything, and then they're sending it, but I don't have it. Okay. I guess we can talk about the format just a little bit. I don't want to go into it in too much detail, but 6 decks, 6 decks is quite the challenge to find something that you're happy with, because there's going to be a big gap between like the first best deck of the format and the 6th best deck of the format. So we basically had to we realized relatively quickly that you're not going to find 6 all-rounder decks that are all equally good or something like that. So we just decided we would try and find 3 solid decks for everybody, and then try and, like, as the secondary deck, we would have more situational stuff going on, and like how to like counter specific matchups, because we figured in such a small tournament environment where everyone would also be able to like watch our games and everyone would like share information online, it would be very, very like after round 1, basically everyone was going to know all the decks that everyone else played, right? Because you guys could see the replays live, or you could watch the duels live in Master Duel, right? Which I think was pretty cool. I think that was pretty cool. But it meant that like we basically wouldn't be able to bring anything that was like super, that people couldn't prepare for and stuff like that, right? And so we thought we would just bring 3 really solid decks and then have a secondary deck that would counter like the worst matchup, right? For example, like with my Naturia Runick deck, which I can talk a little bit more about in a second. I felt like the deck was really good against everything that wasn't branded or tier limit, right? And because it's just an all-around very good deck, but you don't want to play against shufflers with it, right? You don't want to play against shufflers, and you don't want to play against branded as much. And so I took Dragon Link as the second deck because it covers those matchups, right? And then for Emre, it was like we gave him Labrynth. Emre tried Flu, by the way. I told Emre, hey, you have 1 day to convince me of Fluanderese, and that's it. So he just tried to play Flunder into me for an entire day, and I just clapped him. So he didn't get Flunder. But yeah, no, Emre, we gave Labrynth, and as a secondary deck, we gave him Exosister because I felt like Labrynth was really good against everything. It wasn't like crushing any matchups, but it was solid into everything, right? It would have like between 45 and 55% into pretty much the entire field. Except for, I felt like the tier limit matchup was like, if you went second into tier, you basically had no real way to outgrind them with Labrynth, because the hand traps are also not as efficient against tier, except for Bestials. So we thought, hey, let's just give him a shifter deck as a secondary deck for a chance to high roll tier limits. I don't think he's activated a single shifter in the entire event, but Exosister still did really well for him. But I'm not sure. I haven't seen all of his replays in detail yet, but I don't think he dropped a single shifter on tier limits. But yeah. And then for Quantal, honestly, it was like from the first second. I mean, we knew Tier Limit was the best deck, right? We knew Tier Limit was by far the best deck in Master Duel. Not even close. So, and Quantal felt really comfortable with it, right? Like, because in theory, if you read the tournament policies for Master Duel, it would have made the most sense for me to play Tier Limits, because the technically one of the tiebreakers, if you ever have like the same amount of points as another team in the final standings or something like that, the tiebreaker would be the team leader wins, right? Like how many wins the team leader got versus the other team leader. So technically it would have made sense to play like the team leader had the best deck, which was Tier Limits. But I've talked about it with Quantal, and Quantal just felt the most comfortable with playing Tier Elements, and I felt like I could pick up the other decks and do fine with them. And Quantal has had like practice with Tier Elements like crazy, because he's been grinding like Challenger Cups and other things in like Master Duel with Tier for months straight, and so I felt like I felt like there was no way I could take Tearlament away from him, so I was just like, you can have Tear, you're gonna play Tear fine, you're gonna play it pretty much perfectly, I think, and then I'm just gonna pick up whatever is left, because I felt like I was well equipped to deal with that situation, and so I ended up just bringing the Naturia Runick, which I honestly think is probably the second best deck in the meta. Like if it wasn't for Tearlament, it would probably be the best. If you look at our decks, you'll notice that most of them are very, very immune to Maxx. That was the big deal that we wanted, right? Is like we wanted to avoid the variance from Maxx, because the idea is that when your decks are good into Maxx, you can beat other decks just by dropping a Maxx on them, but your opponents cannot do the same thing to you, right? So Tearlaments, when Tearlaments gets Maxx, they just summon a Kid Coloss and they pass. And it's a completely fine opener, actually. It's a completely fine opener. And then for Naturia Runick, it's even simpler, right? The funny thing about Naturia Runick is that very, very often when your opponent Maxxes you give them no draws. You give them no draws, or you give them one draw, depending on how many Runick spells you've drawn, right? Because if you draw one of your Naturia normal summons, you will simply go normal summon, activate Runick spell. If they Maxx, you chain Runick to summon again, so that the first Runick will not resolve. And you can even chain Mole Cricket, because it's a quick effect to the Maxx, and then they will not draw a single card. And you still end on like Fountain. You end on Fountain, Camellia with a Mole Cricket in the graveyard and Runicks in hand, right? And maybe like one or more Naturia blessings. And when you do that, it's like against 5 cards, it's actually a very, very respectable opener, because you have access to like tip into like Flashing Fire, Freezing Curses, Destruction, Slumber to stop attacks, Dispelling to disrupt their hand a little bit. But most importantly, it's just like one Camellia, Camellia, revive Mole Cricket, summon Sunflower, another Camellia, Sentry, add another blessing for follow-up. It's an insane opener under Maxx with like no draws into Maxx. It's literally insane. How much this deck can set up against the Maxx. Like there was actually a lot of times in testing where I would go first. I would go first and I would open Ash Blossom, right? And my opponent would Maxx me. They would Maxx me and I would simply not use my Ash Blossom on it. I would just not use my Ash Blossom on it because I was just fine, right? I would just do my normal thing and keep the Ash as disruption as well. I would just say, I don't care about this Maxx, right? And that was how powerful this deck is against Maxx. And that was also the reason why this deck is... why it was this deck and not Runick Sprite, right? It was specifically because this deck plays insanely well into Maxx. It was definitely this deck over Runick Sprite. I realized this very, very quickly. So yeah, I like this deck a lot. I think it was great. I don't think it could have gone better with any other deck. And I think this deck honestly could also be the deck could also be the difference maker between like the other teams, because there was only one other team that also played Naturia Runick, and that was the other EU team. The other EU team also had Naturia Runick because we prepared together, right? We've been preparing together with Herman, Bowden, and Costas, and it was I think that was one of the things that made the difference. They decided on slightly different lineup, which I'm not sure. I of course I liked ours more. That's why we did it this way. But I think they shared Gamma. I'm not sure. I forgot what they decided up in the end, but I think they wanted to share Gamma at some point, which we also thought about. But yeah, I mean, and they also combined the decks. They combined the decks slightly differently. Like they combined Labrynth with Dragon Link, which is also fine because Labrynth wasn't that good into tier, so you can have Dragon Link with that. And then they combined, I think, Exosister with the Naturia deck. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, the only special thing about this deck, I mean, you know this main deck, right? I'm pretty sure I've probably played this main deck on stream at some point, because the deck is, the deck's like really, the main deck is really cookie cutter, right? It's more about how you play it rather than how you build it. For the extra deck, I made some changes that are not standard. Like, for example, I realized I never made Barkion in testing, and it just took up an extra deck slot that I never used. So I removed Barkion because I really wanted the Trishula. I summoned it multiple times, right? And there's also like, in testing, there was a lot of moments where the Trishula would also come out on the opponent's turn, right? Because you would leave a Camellia on the board, and if you had a Blessing, you can also Synchro Summon on your opponent's turn. You don't always have to revive with it. You can Synchro with it. And so I would go like, I would have a Camellia on the field that I would pass with, right? And then they would like summon from the extra deck or something, and I would get back Mole Cricket, and then I could just use like a Runick spell to summon Gary, and that's level 9, and I could just Trish them on their turn, which is crazy. So that was cool. Scarlight was mostly used to like finish the remaining like 1500 life points or something in testing, because like this deck doesn't normally, this deck either decks your opponent out or takes an insanely long time to actually win like the game, right? And so Scarlight was there to secure games and clear boards, honestly, because you don't have a battle phase. Very often it would just be like, hey, I can't clear your board, so I'm just gonna force all your disruptions and then just Scarlight your board. That was really nice. Of course, the life points effect didn't matter for us because we didn't have timeout. We had the in-game timer. There was no timeout other than that. So that was that was irrelevant for Scarlight. It was just there because it's a genuinely like a good card, right? Especially when you don't have a battle phase. You know. The timer was just the in-game timer, by the way. It was just the in-game timer. The ranked timer, rather, I should say. The ranked timer was the timer we used. For Quantal's for Quantal's decks, okay, so the tier limit list I felt like was relatively standard, relatively solid. We just liked it that way. I don't know. This was like all of these cards just felt very, very solid to us. We didn't like the Grieve was something that we started playing as a one of, and we just kept liking it whenever we drew it. Like whenever we drew it in testing, it helped us play through Imperm on Rhinoheart. It helped us play through Ash on Rhinoheart. It helped us play through Imperm on Kitkalos. It helped us play through Abystial once we summoned Rhinoheart. Like Grief was just a very solid extender that could also be a starter, right? Because this deck struggles with consistency sometimes, and Grief is like a starter. It's acceptable to start with Grief, especially if you open something like Scream without any of the tier limit normal summons, right? You have Scream and no normal summon. It's actually a phenomenal start with Grief, because you can just summon Rhino, send Rhino, bring it back by discarding Scream. That gets you a trap card. Rhino triggers. It's just a very good card, I think, in Massaduel right now to fix the consistency issues of the deck and also help it play through hand traps. The rest is relatively standard. Super Poly is like the card that makes you beat all of the rogue matchups, like Exosister, Sprite. It's good in the mirror as well. It's just, Super Poly is a phenomenal card in this deck. And then, yeah, Talons was just like a no-brainer. The reason why we shared Talons, by the way, is it was weird, but like we excluded so many decks from our considerations because of the shared card thingy, right? There was like, for example, there was a brief moment where we considered sharing Extravagance to be able to play like multiple Extravagance decks, like playing Extravagance in Exosister as well, and like having it in Lab and so on and so forth. Because we knew we were gonna share, we knew we were gonna share Maxx and Ash, right? Because every deck wants Maxx and most decks want Ash because everyone else is gonna have Maxx. The third one, honestly, to keep it real, the third one, until 2 days before the event or something, before deck submission, we were not sure what the third shared card was going to be, because we built our decks in a way where we didn't really need a third shared card, right? Like I said, We didn't need to share Called by the Grave. Because we chose decks that were good into Maxx C, right? Most of our decks were good into Maxx C, so we didn't need to share Called by the Grave, which I was very happy about, by the way, because you guys know I'm not a big fan of Called by the Grave in general, right? I just don't like the concept of the card. I hate that the card is only good going first in most matchups. It just creates this very high variance environment, right? Like, for example, a deck that needs Called by the Grave is Sprite, and a lot of people have been saying, "Why didn't you play Sprite?" Right? Why didn't you play Sprite? Why are you not a fan? Let me tell you, if anyone would have brought Sprite to this event, if it was viable, it would have been me. If Sprite was any viable for this tournament, I would have brought it in a heartbeat, right? But Sprite in this environment is just a massive coin flip deck. Sprite in this World Championship format had pretty much nothing to do with skill expression or anything like that. Sprite was just literally probably one of the weakest decks going second, because you only have 2 blue, 2 jet, 2 starter, so you are very, very low on extenders. You have a very hard time playing like a solid hand trap lineup in Sprite, because you don't want to have your Sprite deck take up all of your hand traps, right? Like you can't really put like Imperm, Veiler, Bystials in your Sprite deck, and then all of your other decks don't have it. Sprite is a good deck, but the thing is, it's just way too coin flippy, right? It has to go first. It has to avoid Maxx C, or if you get Maxx C, you have to have an out for it. And it basically just takes up every single shared card in the game for an optimal Sprite list, right? It needs all the hand traps. It technically needs Bystials to even have a chance against tier limits. It technically needs Called by the Grave as well. So like, it just wasn't that good, I think. It's not that good in Master Duel right now. Unless you play it, like, if you play it in ranked, it's fine. You can play all the tech cards. You don't have to worry about sharing them with other decks. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. We didn't like Sprite as much. We really did not. We did not like Sprite much in testing. It didn't feel like it did anything special over other decks. While taking up a significant amount of non-engine cards from other, like from the shared card pool, and also just like being by far the worst deck in the format to Maxx C. By far the worst deck into Maxx C from all the viable decks, right? And so like, the other reason why we didn't share Called by is because like the only deck that would also need it in our lineup would be like Dragon Link kind of likes it. The reason why I didn't feel like we needed it in Dragon Link was because we used Dragon Link specifically as a counter to Tearlament and to Branded. And when you have a deck with the maximum Bystial count, what I would do literally in those matchups, if they Maxx C'd me, I would just pass, right? I would literally just pass. And that was fine. I won multiple games, right? Was it multiple? Maybe it was. I know against Jesse in the finals, he Maxx C'd me in standby phase, and I just went Lubellion, grab Bystial, and just passed with 2 Bystials, right? And it's just completely fine. I was winning that game. So that was that. So it's just basically, it's just 15 hand traps. If you get Maxx C'd, you just pass, and it's fine. The Colossal Fighter, the Colossal Fighter was here because you can deck out people if they Maxx C you, right? When you go second, which can happen. It can happen. It didn't happen in the tournament, but there's a couple spots where you can do that, right? When your opponent has a, let's say they have a Kaleido Heart, or they have a, like another common one would be Rule Colossus. You would just bait the Rule Colossus negate, and you could just deck them out. And that was something that only like ever happened in like testing in theory. It didn't work in the tournament, but that's fine. I thought the thing is basically the reason why it wasn't a problem for me to fit Colossal Fighter in there was because I cut Rocket Synchron, right? I cut Rocket Synchron from the list, which meant I would also have to cut, of course, the Hot Red, right? The Hot Red just went out, and for a while I played Chengying instead, but I didn't really make Chengying much. But you can also play Chengying instead, but I never missed anything else, right? I never missed any other card in this extra deck. Like, everything is here. So I figured it would be cool to have an, even if it's just a 2% chance or something for it to ever happen, to have an auto win against Maxx when you go second. Yeah. It also is my favorite card, coincidentally. One of each baby dragon is straight up just enough. I'm like 100% sure that you don't need more than one. Literally all of my bricky hands that I had, all of the games that I lost to Maxx, it was always because I drew like the baby dragons, right? It was literally just that. You like those were the hands where you drew unplayable. It's like when you drew too many Bestials and baby dragons. And I think for what we wanted this deck to do, the baby dragons were less important than the Bestials. Basically, I was trying for weeks to try and find like a Bestial control type deck rather than like combo Dragon Link. So I tried even versions without the rockets, without the baby dragons and stuff like that. Like, because I just wanted to play Bestial control against tier elements. The deck that ended up doing that the best was still Dragon Link. Dragon Link was still the best Bestial control deck to me in testing, but I felt like it was okay to go down on some of the combo pieces, right? I was very happy going down on, like, let's play less rocket synchrons, let's play less baby dragons, just so I was able to keep it 40 cards. Keep it 40 cards, play the maximum amount of Bestials, and I was just very happy with that. Branded Beast is a solid card, but you don't need it. You really don't need it in this format. I just didn't feel a need for it. I found myself always preferring Branded Regained anyways. It's just a better card. And so I took out Branded Beast after a while. Yeah, I mean, other than that, it's relatively cookie cutter. The reason why we shared talents, by the way, is literally because we didn't need any other shared cards. It was just like, what is the best overall card that we can get a maximum value of in like a lot of different decks, right? And we thought that was talents, right? Talents was by far like the best overall card to have like 2 to 3 copies in a bunch of different decks, right? So like the only deck that we ended up not playing talents in were Labrynth and Exosister. Every other deck just benefits from having 2 or 3 talents in it, right? Like, you want talents in the Runick deck, you definitely want talents in the Tier Elements deck. The Dragon deck can get away without talents, but it's good still, right? You like it. And so on and so forth, right? So yeah, this deck was also very solid. And then for Quantal's second deck, honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you, we thought we were never gonna play this deck anyways. Like, we thought we were just not gonna play this deck, right? That's what we thought, because Tier Elements was so strong. Tier Elements was so strong, we saw almost no reason to switch off of it. At first we were like, okay, we should find a deck. We should find a deck that beats the shifter decks, right? Exosister and Flu. But then we tested Tier Elements against Exosister and Flu, and we just thought it was good enough, right? We thought Tier Elements was just good enough into Flu and Exosister, because whenever they don't draw shifter, you can just beat them, right? So after a while of trying to find a deck that was good against shifter decks, we were just like, hey, we can just play tier into those. Like, we literally can just play tier into those. Jesse never switched away from tier, which I thought we were also going to do that. And so after realizing that we're just gonna play tier all the time pretty much, we were like, okay, what is the theoretic, what needs to happen for us to not queue up the tier element deck, right? What needs to happen for us to be like, we don't want tier element right now? And then we were like, okay, the one thing that could happen is someone having like a real actual anti-tier element stun deck, right? like freaking Necro Valley, Inspector Border, Board Breakers, these type of decks, right? You know what I mean, right? These type of decks, we tried that too for a while to like hard counter Tearlament, and it wasn't super consistent to counter Tearlament, but it was still scary, right? It was still scary to maybe have someone have like a Necro Valley strategy when you're playing Tearlaments, right? Because you lose the coin flip against that deck, they activate Necro Valley, you probably lost. So we thought, okay, if someone really has that and we ever find out about it, we want this deck, or like any deck that can just beat it, right? And so we built something literally, I think, on the day of deck submission, because we figured it wouldn't be that important. On the last day, we were like, let's build something that just claps Necro Valley decks. And we just built this. I don't know. We had some other ideas that would just guarantee a win against that. Hold up. Like, we also tried True Draco. We tried True Draco for a second, because that would guarantee to beat that. We ended up playing the deck, actually, for, like... It was funny because the first time we played it was in round 3, right? In round 3, when we were already guaranteed for top 4. When we were already guaranteed for top 4, we were playing against the second Japanese team. And they had Exosister, and I think they were also using Dimensional Fissure in it. Like, it was Exosister with Dimensional Fissure. And so we... The match didn't matter as much, but in that moment, I thought, like, hey, I turned to Quantle and I was like, do you want to queue the Sky Striker deck? And he was like, do we really want to show off this deck? And then I said, I mean, technically you want to keep it hidden, but I think you're always going to play Tearlament from here on out. So maybe it's good that you show that you're willing to swap away from Tearlament, right? Which is something they wouldn't expect, right? We always expected the Tearlament player to keep playing Tearlament. So we were like, hey, why don't we show them that we are willing to not play Tear? So they might be, maybe if they have an anti-Tearlament deck, they might not be so inclined to just bring it, and so we played it. And we queued it into Exosister, because Exosister actually is a good matchup for this deck, right? Exosister is good because you just go second. This was blind second, by the way. And you just board breaker them to hell, right? It's actually good against Exosister, right? And so we did that. And Quantle beat Exosister with it. Like, he completely destroyed Exosister. I think he opened, like, Raigeki, Lightning Storm, Upstart, Engage... Ash or something, and Ray or some shit like that. He completely annihilated Exosister with it. Funnily enough, the only game that we won in that match against the Japan team, we literally got swept. I don't know what it was. I remember me getting very unlucky against Tearlament with Dragon Link. I got super high rolled, and then I also lost to Branded. I don't remember exactly how that went, but it was like, at that time, it didn't matter to us. I don't know if we played worse because we were already guaranteed for top 4. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's whatever. Oh yeah. I mean, it says 1-8. It says 1-8, but it was 1-5. Like, the way it worked, when one team reached 5 wins in the first 2 sets, we would not play the last set. Right, we would not play the last set at all, and it would just count as 3 wins for the opponent. Right, we got 1-5. We got swept. But it's whatever. And then because it worked so well into Exosister in that match, Quantle just wanted to queue it again into Exosister in top 4. And there it didn't work. There he lost to Exosister because I think he drew 0 board breakers. Like, his hand was literally like, I think 2 Rays, Afterburner, Eagle Booster, Shark Can, like, just like the Sky Striker cards, which are the bad cards in the deck, basically. But yeah, this deck was never meant to be played. It was just kind of like, we just we queued it once in round 3 because we felt like it was smart there, and then we queued it once more in top 4 because it worked out so well in that last round. But it didn't work out there. But then yeah, we were not gonna like queue it again, right? Yeah. And that's pretty much the lineup. It's just that, you know, we had like I had Naturia Runick because it was good into everything except for tier and branded, and then for branded and tier I had Dragon Link, which just also doesn't hard counter, honestly. Like this deck does not hard counter tier limits, but it's good enough, right? For a secondary deck to queue into tier limit, it's good enough, right? It's also if they ever decide to switch and not play branded or tier limit, you have a fine matchup into other decks. Like this deck is just solid. And then for Quantal, like I said, just play tier into everything. Sometimes play the Sky Striker into anti-meta decks. For Emra's first deck, the lab list, we decided on this one. He got Bells because I wanted him to queue this into the mirror match as well, like into Furniture Lab, and Bell is just very, very strong there. Which is also the reason why we decided not to play many cards that are bad in the mirror. Like stuff like, I don't know what it was. There was a moment where I even wanted him to take out Skill Drain, but that we didn't do. Well, yeah. The Labrynth deck, honestly, out of all of our decks, the Labrynth deck was probably the worst. The Sky Striker deck is worse than the Labrynth deck, but like we never intended to use it. Out of the real decks that we brought, the Labrynth deck was probably the worst because it was the one that needed to go first the most, and because it also has like all of its matchups are very close to 50-50 pretty much. And so it ended up being like Emra actually ended up playing Exosister, I think, more than Labrynth, which I think was good. Like, Lab didn't carry us much. The thing is, we had Lab on the lineup really fast. And I liked Labrynth, but I don't think it was phenomenal in this format. It's just like, it's not that great into tier limits, but it's okay into tier. Like, you go first, you can beat it. You go second, you need to draw a bunch of hand traps or you lose, but it's fine. The mirror match is obviously okay. I think this list has a slightly above average win rate in the mirror match, like slightly above 50. And then in all of the other matchups, it's pretty close to a 50-50, right? And then the Exosister deck, honestly, I think just overperformed a lot for Emra. Like, we just ended up liking this deck a lot throughout the event because it was just like, I think the list was solid. We just had a very cookie cutter list, with like a mix of, you know, have hand traps, have board breakers, have shifter, and it was just solid. It was just solid all around. It can like beat every deck in the format. The reason why we went with 5 trap cards is because drawing the trap cards makes it so you play through hand traps very well, right? Like if you ever get Maxx Seed or Ashed on Martha, you know, having like the normal, like there's like normal summons, set 1 or 2 trap cards, really good. No, the Labrynth, the Exosister deck was honestly fine. I think it was a very solid pick. Yeah, and like it's just like you go first with this deck. You open like in the finals, you just go first, and then you go Magnifica double trap. It's just very hard to break. Emra invested 500 euros into X. Emra was very, very sad because in the beginning I was gonna give Dragon Link to Emra. And so he went and spent all his gems to build Dragon Link on Massaduel and tested with it and stuff like that. And then I told him, hey, this does not make sense. You're not going to get Dragon Link. And he had to get Exosister. And Exosister is freaking hell of expensive on Massaduel because it literally doesn't have a single card from like a selection pack or some shit. All of it is, and it has so many ultras, dude. Hold up. How many is it? It's insane. It has like Martha is ultra rare, Pax is ultra rare, so that's 6. This is 9. 11 ultras just for the exo cards, and then also the freaking Magistus thingy. It's like 12. It's 12 freaking ultra rares that you need to craft just for Exosister. And the funniest thing was he dismantled his dimension shifters for the Dragon Link deck, so he had to recraft the dimension shifters. Emre, honestly, right now, Emre's Master Duel account, unironically, has only the ultra rares that he played in the event. He has no other ultra rares. He killed everything. He killed everything. I sat here watching him dismantle Lubellions, Effect Veilers, all the staples in the world you can think of. Everything. He dismantled. It's all gone. It's all gone. He only has his decks from Worlds now. He only has his decks from Worlds, nothing else. Everything else is gone. I guess it was worth it at the end. I guess it was worth it. Oh, also, one funny thing I need to tell you about. Hold up. So you guys know how I've always had this one, right? I've always had this Royal Wyverburster. I went ahead and did the other one too. I don't know how many. It actually only took me like 10 crafts or something. It only took me 10 crafts for this one. And then there was one other thing, right? There was one other thing is like I had 2 normal Saphers and I had a glossy Saphir. And at some point, like a couple days or like on the day of deck submission or something, Quantal was like, hey, isn't it technically optimal? Isn't it technically optimal if you play 3 of the same ones? Because what happens if, like, let's say you search let's say you search one and then you draw the other one and then you summon the wrong one and then your opponent knows that you have another one because like they look different, right? Like you draw a regular Saphir, then you search a glossy one and then you summon the wrong one, then they know what you play, right? And I was like, yeah, that's true. That's true. Let me kill my glossy Saphir. Let me kill my glossy Saphir and make a regular one so they all look the same, right? And so I crafted 1 Saphir. And they gave me this thing. And I was like, Quantal, I know it's technically optimal, right? But you know what? I'm just gonna not misplay and not show them which one, you know. I'm playing this one. And Quantal was like, okay, yeah, that's fair. And you know what? When we submitted our decks, right? When we went there on the Friday, to the venue, they were like, here, because we didn't play on our own accounts, right? We did not play on our own accounts. They gave us accounts with all the decks on it. They were like, here, double check your decks, right? Double check your decks. And I go in to double check my decks, and like the Saphir in my deck is not royal, and the Color Serpent is also not royal. So I call them and I'm like, hey, these are not the right rarities. And Quantal is like, yo, just don't bother. Don't be annoying. Don't do that. I was like, no, I need those. And so they changed it. They changed it. I was like, I did not sit here at 1 in the morning crafting for a Royal Color Serpent for a matching set. Then just so not do that. I was like, no, I need my Royal Saphir and I need my Royal Color Serpent. And they did change it. Why did Emre have to craft Exo if they get different accounts? Well, they said we need to own all the cards. You know, we needed to own the cards that we were going to play for the event. The same was true with like royals and stuff. We couldn't just tell them, hey, I want everything in royal, please do that for me. We couldn't do that. We had to have those cards. Like we literally, there was a deck submission in Master Duel. The deck submission was through the Master Duel client, where I had to go and submit the decks, and I could only submit the decks that the cards that I had, right? Well, yeah. I mean, we wanted to have the cards. Yeah, we used them for testing anyways. Like we did a majority of our testing just in game anyways. So like it's fine. It didn't matter. I do think it would have looked kind of weird if people just show up and are like, "Hey, I'm gonna play everything in Royal Rare," and they just let you do that. I think that would not portray the right image of like that would not portray the right image of the game when like the top players don't have like a bazillion Royal Rares, right? That's not how it works, right? And that's, I don't know, that would maybe even throw off people in like when they watch. They're like, hey, oh, you have to, it's such a pay to win thingy, you know what I mean? I don't know, it just it looks more, it looks and feels more natural that everyone just has to play with their own cards. I don't know, I didn't mind it that much. I did not mind it that much. Galzo, thank you for the 5. Appreciate that. Also, every single one of you that's been subscribing, especially in the beginning of the stream, you guys are insane. Thank you so much. I appreciate every single one of you. Yeah, thank you for all the congratulations and everything. Thank you. The Royal Freezing Curses, dude. People don't even realize that in like multiple spots where I draw the Freezing Curses, it wasn't even the best one to draw. Literally, freaking Runick Tip, Flashing Fire were always going to be better. There was like 7 cards in my deck that I could have drawn that were solid, and like Freezing Curses was like the worst one out of the 3. And people are still like, oh god damn, he's been top decking freaking Freezing Curses 3 turns in a row. Well, yeah, I've been drawing 4 cards per turn. And I would really appreciate a Flashing Fire or a Runick Tip, but I keep getting Freezing Curses back. It's not that broken, dude. Like, god damn, he's drawn the same cards after shuffling it back into the deck and drawing 4 cards. That's crazy. Y'all have never played a Runick deck in your life, and it shows. Yeah. So yeah, that was our decks. That was our lineup. I think it was really good. Obviously, I'm really happy of how it played. We always knew what to do. We always knew what to queue. We never had a matchup or an opponent where we didn't know what to do, because we were prepared for all possible like combinations. I felt like it was always like, okay, against this player who has those 2 decks, we know exactly what to queue, like every time. It was literally all 3 of us. We never had a single like argument about what we need to queue into a certain player. It was always like, okay, everyone knew those 2 decks, you queue that. Like literally, they gave us, it was like after every game, it was like, you now have 10 minutes. You have 10 minutes to discuss what you're going to do for the next one. And we were done in like 5 seconds every time. It was like, okay, you're playing this one next. You bring that deck, right? Yeah. Okay. You play that. You play that. We were done. Like literally every time. Every time he's like, you have 10 minutes, and they were like, yeah, we need 10 seconds, and then we were ready. And then we just have to sit there and wait for 10 minutes. Is Naturia Runick good in TCG even with 1 tree? I don't think it's good with 1 tree, no. I don't think it's good with 1 tree. I honestly don't think so. I went through all 3 sacred trees pretty much every game, unless the ones where except for the one against Raymond where I didn't even get to play the game. 1 tree is just not good. Do you recommend playing Master Duel? I mean, in terms of getting into the game, I think Master Duel is pretty good for it, because it's just way cheaper than playing paper, and way more convenient from home. So yeah, why not? Can we watch some replays? We can watch some replays from the event, I guess. I haven't seen much of this yet. The only ones I've seen, I mean, I've seen ours. Analyze your feature match with Jesse. Is it on here? I heard that it's not on here. Where's the finals? Yeah, it's not on here. Okay. Okay, we are because it didn't finish. All right. I was mad for like a solid 5 seconds at Quantal after the finals because I didn't get to finish because I was about to game him, and then Quantal just told me, "Hey, it's over." I was like, "What do you mean?" I needed like a minute maybe. I needed a minute. I mean, the thing is, I think it was good that they made us stop. I think honestly, it's very good that they made us like not finish the game because I mean, I'm pretty sure their thought process was just they wanted to, as soon as the winner has been declared, pretty much, they just wanted to capture the emotion and end the tournament. Like it would have been how anticlimactic would have been if I knew I was already a world champion and I have to finish the game. The same on the other end for Jesse. Like they already know they lost. Why would they keep playing the last game, right? And practically, the game was just over anyways. Like literally the game ends that turn. We can look at the situation and figure it out, but I was just doing an OTK right there. Like the game was just over. Hold up. Is it somewhere? How do I watch it? It's on the stream, but it's very, very small, right? It's very, very small on the stream. Let me find it. I'm gonna go to pack VODs. I'm just gonna make sure I'm using someone's VODs who's not gonna mind. I'm pretty sure Pack's not gonna mind. Okay, I found it. Bro, this intro scene, by the way, this intro scene to the games almost killed me the first time we saw it, dude. In the first round. God damn. Okay, so Jesse Max seed me in draw phase because they knew we were on the shared talents technology, right? And my hand was Regained, Magnamute, Double Tracer, and Lubellion. So I just go, literally, the plan in this situation is literally just get as many Bystials as you can and pass. So I just go Lubellion, grab another Bystial, and activate Regained and pass, which is a very solid opener against tier, honestly. When they only have 5 cards in hand, like it's completely it's completely fine. Actually, I was not feeling bad about this at all. And so here, he goes Sharon. This was actually crazy. He goes Sharon, discards Maxx, mills 3 irrelevant cards, then triggers Scream and also mills 3 irrelevant cards. Not only were these cards irrelevant, it was also stuff that like was good. Like he on the first mill 3, he milled Heartbeat, which was then gone, right? But he didn't mill a trap with it, so he couldn't trigger it. And then on the second 3, he milled Crime, which was now gone, which he couldn't search later, which was also good for me, right? And so these mills were not very good for Jesse. The only good mill he got was a Snow. He did mill a Snow. And so here is where it gets interesting. He normal summons Mudora. And I think he just makes Redoer. And so this situation is awkward for me because if he uses the Redoer, I needed some time to think about this spot. I think it takes me a while to figure out what I need to do. In this spot, if he activates Redoer to jump out, he's going to get Kitkalos, and I cannot prevent it, right? I cannot prevent Kitkalos here because there's no monsters on the board, right? So this play actually plays around Bystials really well. And also, as soon as Jesse gets to Kitkalos, I have a big problem because he can like Kitkalos to like bring back Rhino Heart, mill 5. He's gonna have Snow with infinite material in the graveyard, right? So I can't let that happen. So what I do is I use Baldrake. Hold up. Yeah, here I'm like tanking about it because like the thing is the only target for Bystials in Jesse's graveyard right now is a Snow, right? The thing is Jesse has 8 cards in the graveyard right now. Jesse has exactly 8 cards in the graveyard, and I know he's not holding a Tearlament card, right? He is not holding a Tearlament card because he did not activate Rhino Heart. And he also discarded Maxx for Sharon. So there's obviously this card in hand is obviously not a Tearlament card, right? And so I know that if I go Baldrake on Snow right now, he cannot really chain it, right? He cannot really chain the Snow because he would have to banish his entire graveyard because it's exactly 8 cards. One of them is Snow. If he wants to banish 7 cards, he has to banish all the other 7, including the Rhino Heart, which is the only other Tearlament monster. So if he does that, he have the ability to fuse with the Sharon, because the Sharon needs at least one other Tearlament name to fuse with. If he chains Snow to my Baldrake now, everything else is gone. The only thing that he can do is he can banish his own Scream. That's something he can do. But then, if he does that, if he brings out the Snow to dodge my Bystial, I have a second Bystial that is now a quick effect because the Snow is on the field, right? Because when the Snow hits the field, when the Redoer goes out, the Tearlament triggers in the graveyard. My Bystial is now a quick effect, so he cannot chain the Snow. The Snow is just gone. It's just I get it for free, right? Technically, this also. It also takes away Jesse's battle phase, in a way, because he has to attack the Baldrake. He has to attack the Baldrake because otherwise the Baldrake just banishes Kitkalos. And so this is what I take. I take a moment here to figure it out. I also draw a card right here with the regain, which is a small. That was a small consideration as well, is that I can pick up more Bystials with the regained because I have like 34 cards left in the deck, and like 6 of them are Bystials. Well, 2 of them would be another Baldrake that couldn't trigger, so it's like it's 4 others. So like there's like a chance that I draw. Or I can also draw Maxx, which is obviously very good. So like a lot of potentially good draws from the regained, right? And so I use the Baldrake on the Snow, and Jesse, I remember now, I don't think he took a long time to realize he cannot chain it. Yeah, he just lets it go. And here is where I draw a card with regained. Here's where he just has to attack the Baldrake, right? But I figured if he has to do that, at least like, I'm not dying this turn. I have a Magnamute for follow-up. He doesn't have that many cards in hand. Even if he gets to play in main phase 2, I'm probably fine with the Magnamute disrupting 1-1 effect. But he just uses the Redoer. he just uses the reader, and he told me after that he didn't realize that I could summon the Magnamute here because I had a light in the grave. Because he checked his graveyard, saw no lights or darks, saw no lights or darks in his graveyard, and was like, okay, I can just use the reader and start going off. But yeah, I didn't realize that I can just banish my own Lubellion, right? And so I realize here that I have to use the, I'm thinking about it, I have to use the Magnamute now, because if I chain it later, to like, I was thinking about keeping it, but I think this was just relatively obvious for me that I have to do it. Before the shuffler hits the graveyard as well. Yeah. And so here I already started feeling pretty good because I knew Super Poly couldn't be there because not enough cards in hand. Like the one thing I was worried about was Droplet because I knew he was playing Droplet. But that was, I mean, I was probably still going to survive unless the mills were completely insane. I don't remember what I drew here, by the way. It was not another Bestial. I don't have another Bestial here. I have, like, this was my last interruption. I don't remember what I drew. Could have been a Talents. Maybe. I'm not sure. And then we just Baldrake the Kid-Close. And at this point, I felt really, really good because he's already normal summoned. He's used Sharon. So whatever the Kid-Close searches here will not extend in at all. So just, I know it's just a Havness for like protection on my turn. However, Havness when Kid-Close is banished doesn't do as much. And here he has 2 Talents to draw 2. This was a little scary because Talents draw 2 into Desires draw 2 more. So suddenly instead of 2 cards, it's 4. Suddenly instead of 2 cards, it's 4, which that was that was a scary moment, dude. That was a very scary moment where it just goes, you know, from 2 cards to 4 cards for no reason. But I knew that, I still knew that, like, you know, his resource game was just severely damaged here. Like, Heartbeat and Crime are already in the graveyard, so very hard to get those back. Kit is banished, and the Crime is in the graveyard, so you'd have to, like, go all of your way to shuffle back the Crime, then mill it, then get back Kit, then make it. I was gonna be fine, because I was gonna, like, nothing is gonna happen this turn. Nothing is gonna happen this turn. End phase, I search with Magnamute, and then I draw another card, so I'm at 5 cards in hand. I have a Regained ready. I have a Baldrake on the board, so I'm feeling good here. I'm already feeling good here. And you just go set pass. And here, end phase, the Redoer returns, which I could have maybe put back with the Regained. I don't know why I decided to do the Snow. Probably was better to just do the Redoer. And here I'm considering what I want to search. Because my hand obviously it's 2 Tracer and whatever I top decked. I don't remember what this is. Maybe a Quick Launch. I think I have a Quick Launch at some point. And I'm thinking about what I can do. Like, I can get a Baby Dragon, but a Baby Dragon is very weak to him drawing into more copies of Maxx or something like that. So I decide to just go the more conservative route and just get more Bestials, right? Because that's, I think, the one way how I can just not lose this game is if I just keep having Bestials, right? I keep having Bestials to stop his fusions. Like, even if he gets lucky off of Scream, if he gets lucky off of Havness, I can disrupt those cards, right? And just put more bodies onto the field, draw more cards with Regained. I think that's how I'm not prioritizing winning the game this turn. Here I search Serenir because I drew Druid's Worm for turn, so I have 2 Bestials, 2 Tracers right now. And I know that like the set cards can be droplet or super poly, right? That's like his deck has droplet, super poly. So I decide to bring back the Lubellion first in order to normal summon my Tracer without the chance of super poly, because super poly cannot hit light and dark together. And I decide to just play into the Havness because there's no way I will not do that. There's no way I will play out this turn without playing into the Havness. I can't play that conservative. I have no way. Like, so the Havness is here. I have 2 Bystials in hand to disrupt potential mills, so I'm not too worried about it. But I think he actually ends up whiffing completely, which is like obviously very unlucky. He ends up whiffing. This is like 2 Pot of Desires and another irrelevant card, and then the Scream also doesn't mill anything, I think. And it also triggers the Regained, right? The Havness triggers the Regained, so I get back Magnamute. Which will trigger the Super Poly, but the thing is, as well, you cannot play around Super Poly completely. Oh no, he uses Mudora to stop it. Which makes sense. And shovels back the Crime. That was also smart. The thing is, oh, he mills a Havness here, actually. He does mill a Havness. So I go Serenir on the Havness, which that does play into Super Poly now, but like, getting Super Poly'd on a Striker Dragon and a Serenir honestly didn't matter much. Because it also made it so that it's putting a lot of monsters onto his side of the field. It's putting a lot of monsters on the side of his field, and I have a Boot Sector launch in hand, so I'm just gonna Ravine. I think I just Ravine and put the Tracer that I have in hand into Graveyard as well, so I can just Boot Sector Revive too. Regain draws another card. And then he's just Super Polying my my 2 Dark Dragons. Because he knows, like, if he doesn't Super Poly here, I just go Romulus and then I Unicorn the Super Poly. No, he's dying this turn. He's dying this turn. And the thing is, I know Jesse didn't play any hand traps other than Havness or Maxi, so I know I can just go for it here. So he's got the second Shuffler here to prevent the Druid Swarm, and then we just go in with the Boot Sector. I don't play Branded Beast. No, you don't need it. Here, I'm not sure if I already had any rockets in the graveyard. I probably didn't. But here, I think I just go Quick Launch, and Quick Launch just ends it. I think Quick Launch just ends it here, because, like, I mean, you'll see what I have. I have to check what's all... I can't check what's all in my graveyard, sadly, because that matters a little bit in a second. It matters a little bit in a second what's in my graveyard. So here it's just Boot Sector to revive 2. You could have chained Redoer to hop out and prevent 1, but that gives me Safert as well, because the Redoer attached Safert, so maybe that was not the right play anyways. So here's Boot Sector revive 2. And here, honestly, I think that's just game. I'm pretty sure it's just game. But Quantal's already winning at this point. This is Pack looking at the Quantal game. And here, look. So this is where it ends, I think, in a second. This is where it... yeah. So this is the final board state where they make us stop the game, right? This is the final board state where they make us stop the game. Now, this is game, I think. I'm pretty sure this is game. Because you just go Striker Dragon, target Pisty. Bring back Recharger to your hand. Trigger Recharger to revive something from the graveyard. To get rid of the Dragon Lock. Get rid of the Dragon Lock by Striker Pop Pisty. Bring back Recharger, bring back something from the graveyard. And then you just make Unicorn with, like, you can't link off the Druid Swarm because that's from Romulus. So you just make Unicorn, shuffle back the Havness so it doesn't trigger. So this is here, Unicorn. Hold up. So this brings back something. I think it depends how much attack points, like what I have in the grave. Recharger, bring back Recharger, make Chaos Ruler. I can also just make Chaos Ruler, and that's probably going to be enough. It's probably going to be enough with Chaos Ruler, because Chaos Ruler finds me another Bestial that I haven't used yet, or... The thing is, just access code Chaos Ruler or just access code Baron is not enough. Because of Scream. Access code would be 48, and the other one would be 25, so it would not be 8k. I need another I'm not dark locked. No, I'm not dark locked. I'm not dark locked at all. No. It might depend on the Chaos Ruler hit, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Either way, this game is gonna be over. Like even if I don't kill this turn, I guess Unicorn shuffles the Garura because the Havness has already been used, so I don't even need to worry about the Havness. I can just shuffle back the Garura, so they can't, you know, draw into. They won't draw another card. I did play Colossal Fighter, yeah. So it's just Striker, target Pisty, bring back something with Recharger. Unicorn access code, pop the entire board, leave him at 700. Worst case, it's still, he still has to deal with like a Baron negate with 2 cards in hand, and no Kit Colossus in the extra deck. I'm pretty sure this is over anyways. Can't you use the Seyfert under Redoer after he jumps? You get the Lubellion. Well, I have already used Lubellion this turn. We don't have another Tracer target. No, we don't have another Tracer target. But yeah, I mean, anyways, it does not matter. If it's not game, you can also just make Boral End Dragon here, bring back Tracer, make Baron, then you have Boral End and Baron. Boral End and Baron is also way more than enough to win this game, I'm pretty sure. Because it doesn't walk into Super Poly. Like, Boral End plus Baron, when the Garura is in the graveyard, is just impossible to break, right? There's no way that 3 cards in hand... 3 cards in hand would not beat Boral End Baron regained. There's no shot. So yeah, I needed like another minute or something. I needed like another minute or something to finish this game, but this was also this was very much over, yeah. Well, yeah, that was that. The shared card we used was Talents, the third one. How did you feel about the Runick consistency with all those 2/2/2? I mean, it's annoying slightly because, you know, sometimes you just draw the bad ones and it's not that great. However, like even the bad ones, like Golden Droplet, you just use it to summon, right? It's not bad. Any idea what deck Jesse would have played Marinces against? Well, he said it was mainly for branded. He said he was afraid of the branded matchup because he considered that one difficult as tier, especially going second, and he wanted a deck that was good against branded. And he said Marinces did that. Why was there almost no branded? Because branded wasn't that good, honestly. We tried it, and branded is not that good in Macedul right now. Branded is not that good in general, but branded is just not very strong, I think, in Macedul right now overall. It was just like, it was not that good. It was not super consistent because it's like it has a lot of consistency hits, and it loses to Ash way too hard. And then even if you don't get ashed, some of your openers still lose to some decks. Like some cards, like Evenly Matched, are just phenomenal against branded as well in this format. I don't know. I was very surprised. I was very surprised that the European teams, were the only team bringing a Runick deck. I was genuinely surprised by that because I felt like that was literally the deck I felt the most comfortable with after tier limits. Like that deck was super strong. And I was also very surprised about the OCG reaction to Runick. Like, you know how we always look at what's going on in the OCG and something, and we are very aware of like the stuff that they like and the stuff that they play. Even though some of those decks aren't good in our format, we are at least aware of what they do, right? And what they like. And then when I played against the Japanese team in top 4, literally, I think they have never seen that Runick deck before. They just don't know it exists. They did not know what it did. Like people kept sending tweets to me of like how OCG Twitter was going crazy because they had never seen those cards before. They didn't understand about like what that combination was about and stuff like that. And I think you can see that in the match of like me versus the Sprite player on the OCG top 4 team, right? Literally, let me tell you, I was not supposed to win that game. They did not. I mean, with all due respect, if they play that game well, I have no shot. The annoying thing is that that one is also not on the replays in the game because it also is the one that didn't finish. I think, which is annoying. Was it on the live stream? We had a feature match, right? That was a feature match in top 4, right? Yeah. Hold up. I think that was on the feature match. Give me a second. See if I can find it. How did you guys like the stream, by the way? How was it for you guys? Just a demo. Thank you for the 12 months. Is this all? Oh, they had separate streams, right? I'm on the wrong stream. Hold up. Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship. Trading card game, digital, trading card game, Master Duel, and Duel Links. There we go. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, hold up. Okay, so I get my Maxx C ashed, right? I get my Maxx C ashed, and they open literally everything, right? And I think they end on something like, they end on the full board, plus they have Ash, plus they have Imperm. Right? Which is literally, it's FTK. They cannot lose this. They have, I think they have double cross, Imperm, Ash. Well, let's just, let me, hold up. Yeah, so they have, they have Elf, Sprint, Melfi of the Forest, IP, Melfi Caddy, Imperm, double cross, and Ash, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's like 8 interruptions. It's like 8 interactions against 5 cards in hand. It's quite possibly the best opener you can have, plus having a way to negate freaking Maxx C beforehand. So I'm just like, okay, well, if they do this right, I have no chance, right? And so I go, yeah, I mean, so they let this go through, which they didn't really have an option, right? We go main phase to have the fountain up, and also to be able to activate talents if we draw it. My hand at this point was good. I had three Runicks. I think it's Sacred Tree or Mole Cricket and Fountain. So not bad. One of them was Tip as well. So here already, you can consider going Unicorn to go, like, when I trigger Fountain, you go chaining one Unicorn, chaining one Fountain, chaining 2 Unicorn, shuffle it, but they didn't do that. This is why when they didn't summon Unicorn with IP, I was like, they have to have another way to stop Fountain, right? Like Ash or Smashers, because I didn't know whether they were running Smashers or not. They searched Double Cross. So I figured there was a chance they have Smashers. So that's why I searched another Fountain, because I figured they would have Ash or Smashers. And they have Ash. Here I was just hoping that there was no called by, which there was no called by. This is also interesting because they go on the summon of Camellia. They go Melfi of the Forest, target Camellia to negate it and make it unable to attack, and sprint to bounce Sunflower. Which, by the way, this is the correct play. This is the correct play by them to use both. When they use just Melfi of the Forest, I was really, really happy that I was really hoping that they wouldn't use sprint. But they chain blocked me from negating the Melfi of the Forest. I really wanted to negate the Melfi of the Forest with Sunflower so that we could destroy it and just resolve our Camellia, right? But the way they did it was that I could not negate the Melfi of the Forest, right? All I could do was potentially I could negate the sprint and destroy it and stop it from bouncing my Sunflower. But then I would still my Camellia would be negated either way, right? And so that's why I decided when I used Sunflower here, I decided to just tribute them instead of milling, I think. So that way the Camellia would resolve. That's why I just dip with both of them. Who is top 4 for Master Duel? Latin America. And here it's just if you play Unicorn, you just have to Unicorn this fountain and the game is over. Like, let's be real. If you Unicorn this fountain, the game is over. And or just like summon, if they had summoned a Herald of the Arclight to negate the last fountain, they would have won as well. Like there was multiple ways how you just win here. Even if they don't have Unicorn, first of all, why the hell do you not have Unicorn? Second of all, then you still need to summon Herald of the Arclight to stop this fountain. You know that this card is a Naturia card. So if you just have a Herald here to stop the fountain, the game is over. Instead, they're just letting me draw 3 cards and get back another fountain. So until this point, I thought I was losing, but when they did let me do this, I was like, okay, well, I actually just win now. Right? Because I'm just back up to 5 cards. I'm just literally back to, like, I'm back to full hand. Completely fine situation, but I've just baited, like, a majority of their interactions already. Here, I probably should have drawn 2, maybe. My reasoning for taking Melfi of the Forest here is that it disables double cross, right? If I take Melfi of the Forest, they cannot use double cross anymore. And the IP is technically dead. But they yeah. I probably should have just taken IP. Maybe. Or just drawn 2, honestly. Just get more gas. But So here, I'm aware that they can chain IP to dodge freezing curses, but it's never going to get better than that. So let's just, you know, do it. Because at this point, I mean, the fountain is the new fountain. So it's just, this freezing curses just goes back. I draw a card. I can go to the left if you can still see enough. Yeah, probably. So here they make another elf, which is actually not bad because it like this is good for follow-up because this is also, keep that in mind, they have not used elf yet. They have not used elf yet to revive, and I don't think they are doing it this turn. I think when I end my I think when I end my main phase 1, they get a notification of like the end of main phase 1 is here, and they just say okay. They just don't use it, and then battle phase is skipped, and then it's just end phase. So here we just draw 2, get fountain back again. Here, it was either... There's a couple options. It was Trish. Nat Beast wasn't an option because it doesn't make sense into double cross, but it could have also been Dugaris. It could have been Dugaris to just draw 2, discard 1. And now it was just like, I had 2 more Runicks in hand, I think. At least 1 more good Runick in hand. So I was just like, okay, well, I'm just going to pass now and try to deal with it. And they just don't use the elf, which was like insane. Why did they not use it? Here as well, I don't think they realized how much this attack with this making gigantic sprite would give me, right? I don't think they realized that, first of all. I don't think they realized how much would happen. Because I'm pretty sure if you know what's going on, you just attack the Camellia here. You just attack the Camellia. That's all you need to do. Like, all you need to do is attack this Camellia and you're winning the game. And now I just get back Sunflower, and then now there's another situation. There's another situation where they don't know how Naturia cards work. Right? Because you still win. You still win if you just don't summon this jet. Right? If you don't summon this jet, you also win. All you have to do here is just go into the battle phase. Attack all 3, main phase 2, summon jet. But I'm pretty sure their idea was, I'm going to summon jet, and if they activate Sunflower, I'm going to activate red. I think that's what they thought they would do. And now, you know, they activate jet, and I'm like super happy about it. So I negate with Sunflower, and I mill instead of tributing. And so they realize now, oh shit, this thing is not once per turn. They can do it again. If I try to negate this with red now, I will then also get my red negated. And so they just let it happen. They just let it happen. And so now they just attack. They did no damage. They didn't get their full combos done and everything. And now they just have the pass because their extra deck is also gone. I'm pretty sure they only have 2 elves, which are both gone. And they didn't get the jet ad for starter and everything. And here it's just a matter of, you know, like here people are saying like, oh god, he drew freezing curses again and again and again. It literally, like, any other Runick is better than freezing curses. Like, calm down, dude. Like, if I have a tip, you don't want to know what I'm doing to this man if I have a tip or a flashing fire, okay? Like, you do not know what's about to happen to this man if it's a better card than freezing curses, all right? Like, this freezing curses is not that good. It's literally the worst one to have. This was even unfortunate because I didn't draw any other Runicks. If I had one more, because I kept drawing into more and more Naturia cards and Maxx and shit. If I drew one more Runick here, it's completely, like, doomed, right? I just make Chengying or Baron and draw another card from Coral Dragon. It's completely over. It's like the only reason why he's not already completely dead is because I drew another Freezing Curses, right? If I had drawn another Runick that wasn't Freezing Curses, it would have been much worse for them. Here, okay, here I know the game is over, but then I activate Mole Cricket just because, like, you know, button yellow, me click, right? I just bring back Mole Cricket, and then when the Mole Cricket hits the board, I look at the situation for a second, and I'm like, oh shit, now they can maybe Zeus me, and it might be annoying. The thing was, when they activated Onibimaru, I got a response window for Mole Cricket. So I was like, hold on for a second. I can just Ash my own Mole Cricket and then they can't Zeus me. So I just did that. But it was only a way to, like, it was only a way to stop my previous misplay, right? Like, or like to make up for that. But then it was over anyways. Yeah, then it was over anyways. And we had to stop. Yeah. Well. It was not BM, dude. It was not BM. It was the correct play. That's the thing, right? The reason why I said on Twitter you can stop celebrating the freaking self Ash was because, yes, it was the correct play, but I only had to make that play because I misplayed earlier, right? It was only because I clicked the Mole Cricket too fast. I clicked the Mole Cricket too fast, and that's why I had to correct it. Basically, it was still a good play, but for the wrong reasons, right? It was not as five head as people think. It was not as five head as people think. It was just like I had to do it because I messed up earlier. Which I suppose is also a skill set, you know, messing up and then knowing how to deal with that. But it's it's not as giga five head as you guys are making it out to be, or as people made it out to be on Twitter. It was a 2-head play into a 5-head play. So on average, it was a 3.5 head play. Which isn't that crazy. What was the last card in hand? I do not remember. Sadly, I do not remember. It may have been another Talents. That may be it, or another Naturia card. I don't know. All right. I guess one other thing we can do is walk through my weekend a little bit in general, outside of the games. I didn't film a vlog or something. I'm just not very good at that. I'm sorry, but I tried to keep you guys updated a little bit on Twitter. A couple funny things happened, so we can talk about some of these. So these were this was on the, what was that, Thursday or Friday? When we arrived, we got these the badges and the shirts. We had two types of shirts this time. We had this purple one that everyone got, and it looks the same for everyone. It's just a purple shirt that says Duelist on the back of it, for Worlds. Those were the ones we had to wear, or like we wore those throughout like the welcome dinner and stuff like that. So that was that. That was like the Thursday was just like getting there, you know, telling them that, hey, I'm here. They took some photos. They took some photos and everything, and you know, that's that. On Friday, or Thursday, I don't actually remember. We went to Akihabara, which is like the spot in Tokyo where it has all the card shops and all that stuff. It's very dope. So I bought some OCG copies of Maxx. I don't know why I thought that was cool, but I wanted 3 copies of the card that has been terrorizing the OCG for so long. So I just wanted to pick up some and feel their pain. So I picked up some Maxx, partially also because we tested for Worlds, not only on Master Duel, but also like on paper. Like Emra came to my house a couple times and we played here. And I had to proxy freaking 18 Maxx's or some shit because we built all the decks, right? So I had to, like, it was so annoying because you guys know I hate proxies. You guys know it's annoying for me. I hate playing with proxies and shit. All my proxies were like contact C's and flying C's and shit. That was my proxies for Maxx. I hated it. So I wanted to pick up some. Anyways, that was cool. And then this happened. This was the first time, chat, the first time that an OCG duelist has ever asked me to sign a card was freaking Maxx Circular, because that's what they know me for now, apparently, in some countries in the OCG. Is that I am the one that hates Circular, so they made me sign a Circular. Also, true story related to this. We go to Akihabara, right? And Akihabara is like, it's if you've never been there, you cannot really imagine how it is, but like it's like the anime manga sort of part of the city where it's like all stores centered around all that kind of stuff, right? There's card shops, there's like shops for all kind of like accessories, like figures, all that stuff, right? It's all there, right? It's like for anime fans, it's literally heaven, right? So we go there and it's full of locals. There's like infinite people playing Yu-Gi-Oh right now. And I walk into a store and the first OCG duel I observe, right? There's 2 people playing and I just walk by and just stand for a second to see what they're playing, right? The dude opens, they are about to start, right? And the dude draws opening hands. They draw opening hands and they look at their opening hand and it's freaking Maxx Circular and 4 hand traps. That's the first opening hand I see in the OCG. That's what he's playing. And the thing is, Circular is at 1. He hard opened it. It was not Cynet Mining grab Circular. It wasn't Small World grab Circular. The thing is, the moment I look over their shoulder, they hard opened the 1 Circular and 4 hand traps. This shit is not real. I couldn't make this up. I could not make this up. I was with like 5 other people. They were all like, dude, that is crazy that just happened. It's weird. Sometimes the universe is just weird like that. Also, they proceeded to get Maxx on Circular and lost the match. So that's that. They got Maxx on Circular and lost the match. But that's another story. So yeah, that was cool. So yeah, I had to sign this for one of the influencers that was invited to the event from the OCG. That was cool. That was on the Friday, because on the Friday they took us to Akihabara. They showed us some card shops. We walked around a little bit. We returned to the venue. We checked the PC setup and everything, right? We went to the building where we would play on the Saturday, right? And they sat us down in front of our PCs. They were like, here, you can adjust your seats, you can adjust your settings in the game, you can adjust your volume and everything. So we did all that. And after that, they brought us back to the hotel, where there was also the welcome dinner was not at the hotel, which the welcome dinner was kind of cringe for me personally. It was cool, besides the fact that I couldn't eat anything, because they don't have a concept of veganism, I think, over there. They didn't really comprehend. The thing is, the EU, my contacts from like Konami EU and NA or whatever, they asked me about it, right? They asked anyone for, do you have special dietary requirements and everything? And I told them I was vegan, right? I told them I was vegan, and they were like, okay. And then I'm pretty sure they told OCG Japan, but they just ignored it, so I couldn't eat anything there. I literally sat there at the welcome dinner and I could not eat. And then I had to go for food after. What is that? And then the same happened on Saturday, by the way. The same happened on Saturday when they brought us food. There was like a freaking food at the venue, and I told him I was vegan, and the guy handed me food with chicken and salmon in it, and I was like, cool, thank you, I will not eat that. And then they had the same problem on Sunday. But then they figured it out and got me something. So, well, that was that. The thing is, outside of that, it wasn't that hard to find stuff. Like, it was mostly hard with the translations, because I didn't have internet everywhere, until... That was actually very cool. Konami provided, like, pocket Wi-Fis for everyone. Like, it was, like, small... just small thingies that you could turn on everywhere in Tokyo, and they would give you Wi-Fi, right? That was very convenient, that we got that. But the thing is, the battery wouldn't last the entire day. The battery wouldn't last the entire day. So what I would do if I was underway is I would just use my phone to translate with Google, like the ingredients on stuff, and then it worked out. Then it honestly worked out. I found stuff when I was there. The only times I couldn't eat was literally at the welcome dinner and then at the venue on Saturday and Sunday. But then on Sunday they got me something after. When they failed for the third time, they did go out of their way and got me some food after, so I could eat. I couldn't eat with the rest of the group because my food was there a little late, but then I could. But yeah. All the food I could eat was pretty good, though. All the food I could eat was pretty good. All right, there we are. And then it was tournament day, where I think we were very nervous in going into the first round, but we won it. We won the second round, which was, I think the second round, surprisingly, honestly, the second round was the one that got Quantle and Emre the most nervous for some reason. They both, like the first one, Quantle just goes 3-0, right? Quantle just goes 3-0 in the first round, which is like really good. Emre goes 1-2, but honestly, not because he misplayed or anything. Like, Emre just lost all 3 coin flips in round 1. And I mean, Emre has Labrynth and Exosister, literally 2 of the most coin flippy decks in our lineup. And he just got completely high rolled in round 1. Nothing wrong with that. Like, it was not something he could do anything about. And I went 2-1. So, like, we win the first round relatively convincingly. And then you would think that the first round is the one where all the pressure gets to you, right? For some reason, it was the second round for those two, right? For Quantle and Emre, because Quantle goes freaking... Yeah, okay, so I'm looking at my game, right? I'm looking at my game, and I just hear... I hear Quantle say, like, fuck, I misplayed or something like that, right? And I look over... And there's just a Rhinoheart on the screen, right? There's just a Rhinoheart on the screen. And like a few seconds beforehand, he told me he was going first, right? Like he said, I won the coin flip. I was like, okay. Then he goes, damn, I misplayed. I look over, I see a Rhinoheart. And I look at that Reinhardt for a second, and I'm like, what happened? And he's like, let's not talk about it. Okay. I look back to my screen, and I think about that for like 5 more seconds. I think about it. I'm like, what happened? What did happen? I go back and I'm like, how has a misplayed happened when we just went first, and it's 5 seconds into the game, and there's just a Reinhardt, right? So I look back at him. I'm like, did you right click on that Reinhardt? And he was like, yes, I did. And I was like, all right, cool. So I go back to my game, right? And then also Emre in round 2 goes called buys an Ash Blossom, and then proceeds to Ash the opponent the turn later. And not only that, he lost because him using that Ash on the under called by, enabled the opponent to also trigger Agido in hand. It was not just that he wasted the Ash Blossom, it was also that his opponent got the special Agido from hand. Like, god damn it. So in the second round, they both went 1-2. Luckily for them, I was able to pull off a 3-0 in round 2. So that's why we still got the 5-4 dub. So out of all the games, out of all the rounds, that was like the one where I think they needed me to carry, and luckily I did. I was not mad at them. No, I was not mad at them. The thing you have to realize in that moment, as like I guess the one sitting in the middle and being the team leader, is that there's no point in being mad at them for their misplays. I literally just told them it doesn't matter, keep playing, and that's what it was, right? Like, what's the point of me being mad at them in that moment when we still have games to play and we're still very much in it? Like, what's the point? Like, I'm just like, dude, it doesn't matter. Let's just keep winning. And so we did. Like, it didn't matter. So that's that. Yeah. And then we lose the third round, but honestly, we couldn't care less at that moment because we had locked up top 4. We had locked up top 4 with the second win already. We got kind of swept in that last one, which normally maybe that would make you feel bad, right? Being swept in the last round of Swiss, we lost 1-5, right? We lost 1-5, which it didn't feel great, but at the same time, I can only speak for my games. But my games were simply not winnable. I just got high rolled to death in round 3, and that was whatever, right? I was like, in that moment, I was literally like, better have it happen now than at any other point in the tournament, because like if you ever have a round to get high rolled in, that is the round, right? That is the round. So it was like whatever. So we made top 4. And then we had to face the first place Japanese team for top 4. And I mean, we've watched a couple of those games already. We've seen a couple of those. I don't think there was too much to talk about there. We were down 1-2. Because I think in the first round it was only me that won. And then we equaled it in the second round of matches. In the second round of games, we equaled it up to 3-3. And then we just all won the third game, including, of course, the Sprite against Runick Naturia game, which was kind of crazy. And then the finals went relatively straightforward as well, which was like, I mean, at that point, literally, like I said, at that point when we had made the finals and we knew that Jesse, Ryan, and Ray would be the other team in the finals, I just felt like it could go either way, and I think it would have been deserved either way. For them to win would have been deserved. I think we also deserved winning, to be honest, with how we played throughout the event and the preparation we had going into it. I think Quantal, Emre, and I think we did deserve to win, but I think it would also have been very deserving for Ryan, Jesse, and Raymond. So we were just luckier in the finals, I think. That was the main difference. We played it well. I think they played it well for the most part too. At the end of the day, it was decided by us just, being just a tad bit luckier, I think. And maybe having a slightly better lineup. I'm not sure. I was not a big fan of Sprite, for example, that they had. But I mean, Raymond, out of all the people, did go 2-1 in the finals, so it was not on the Sprite deck to blame, at least. Do you still have to qualify for next year, or do you get an invite? That is something I don't know. That is something I don't know whether it's gonna be if I'm gonna be invited for next year's Worlds. I know in the TCG, whoever wins Worlds is qualified for next year. I'm gonna be honest with you. I would like this year. I was not sure. I told you this, right? I'm not sure if I was gonna if I qualified for TCG, right? If I qualified for TCG, I was not sure which one I would have chosen, right? Between TCG and Master Duel. Next year, I would choose the TCG. I know that already because something about like, you know, having done Master Duel already, I would just 100% try to do TCG. Of course, if they invite me back for Master Duel, I would happily go again if I don't make it to the TCG, right? Like I would always go, right? So I asked them whether I was qualified for next year, but the people that I asked from Konami Europe, they couldn't tell me yet. They didn't know whether that went. Also because I assume it's like it depends a little bit on how they do it, right? Because like, do they do 8 teams only again, and then one of them is us? Do they invite all 3? Do they only invite the team leader? Is it even maybe next time not even a team tournament, just a 1v1 tournament, and it's only like me that gets to go? I don't know any about it. I assume they are also not finished with the planning. I mean, they just finished this year's World Championships. I'm sure they are like gonna look back at it and be like, did we like it as a team format? Did we prefer that? How are we gonna do it next year? I'm sure those are all discussions that are still to be had. I'm pretty sure they don't know that yet. So I think a little bit it's gonna depend on that, right? It's gonna depend on that, whether they want to redo it like that. I personally, as like a final statement, I suppose, about the format of the World Championship, I think it was very enjoyable. The 3v3, the feeling of 3v3, the deck building process with like 6 decks, shared card pool, everything. It had a lot of new challenges that I was not used to from playing the TCG. But overall, I think it was very, very cool. I enjoyed it a lot. And I also think that the playing what essentially was a best of 9, right? Best of 9, I think, eliminated a lot of the variance from not having a side deck, maybe having a couple bad matchups. Just the fact that you get to play 3 games each player, so 9 games total against different matchups, with maybe even different decks. I think it had a lot of cool aspects to it, where like it wasn't all down to you get one bad matchup, you lose. You get, you know, stuff like that. You get unlucky in one game, you don't automatically lose. There's still a lot of other games to cover for like that variance and stuff like that. So I think it was fine. I also think at least from my perspective, because we picked a lineup that was relatively immune to Maxx, and I hate to say it, but Maxx wasn't a big deal for us. Because I remember I got Maxx when I went first a lot, and I did not lose a single one of those games. That is all I can say from my perspective, right? From my perspective, I got Maxx almost every time I went first. And I didn't lose. I don't think I lost a game out of those, because we were able to choose the Naturia Runick deck that was just incredibly strong into Maxx. The thing is that these decks like that, right? Decks like that don't always exist, right? We are not always in a situation where like the best decks in the format are decks like Tearlament, Naturia, Runick, or Labrynth, which can all play in under Maxx fine, right? That's not always the case. It's not always the case. So it's like very format dependent. I think for this particular format in Master Duel right now, Maxx is not ruining the game, right? It's not ruining the game in this particular format, but in a lot of other formats, it could have. In a lot of other formats, it very well could have. So I'm not saying Maxx is good in general. I'm just saying for this particular format, I think we were lucky that Maxx wasn't as big of a deal, right? I still would say overall the game would probably be better off without Maxx. I still feel that way. I also by the way, I got to talk about Maxx with a couple of the OCG people over the weekend. I've met a couple of really nice people from the OCG. And I was just, it's always one of those topics, right? You're like, hey, how do you feel about Maxx? And some of them, most of them don't love it, but some of them also just feel like, they just feel like the game would go too crazy without it, right? The game would go too crazy without it. And then they were like, we would be scared of so many things if Maxx was gone, right? Which, for us, all of those things are banned, right? For us, all those things are banned. Like, they told me stuff like, hey, add Emancipator, like Block Dragon stuff, or weird FTKs, or Rongo, or Chaos Ruler. These type of decks would go way too crazy. And I think it's just a matter of, well, if you want to ban Maxx, you have to ban all of those other as well, right? And some people don't want that. Some people want the stuff to exist over there. So it is what it is, whatever. I think it's at the end of the day, a matter of, in some formats, like the current one, in some formats like the current one, I think Maxx was actually not that bad for the game. Like, I think Maxx did not ruin this format personally. Of course, it's a phenomenal card and it helps people win games, like, no questions asked. Especially, I think Maxx is at its most toxic when you go second and your opponent has a Maxx behind their board. That is when I feel the most desperate about it in my own games as well. Like, not at this World Championship. Not in this World Championship specifically, because that didn't happen to me, I think, that much. But when I play ladder and stuff, it's always like, you know, your opponent makes a board, or your opponent like gets ashed and makes a half board or something like that, and you're looking at your hand and you're like, okay, I can maybe deal with this, we'll see. Depends on what their face downs are, depends on what they negate, depends on where they interrupt me, whatever. And then you start playing it, they drop Maxx on you, and we just it's just like not even a discussion, right? And so, like, that's, I think, where Maxx is the most toxic. I think it could be a matter of, they could just remake it, right? They could just either errata Maxx or ban Maxx and release a different hand trap that does a similar thing but has like maybe more drawbacks, stuff like that. I don't want to get into it in too much detail. I just want to say that I think we got lucky that in this particular format Maxx wasn't that bad, but I think the card still definitely has the potential to be completely toxic. So yeah. Are you gonna discuss TCG OCG Worlds Finals? We can discuss a little bit. So first, one more thing I wanted to cover was this discussion that's been going on, right? I figured I would present my perspective from as a participant about the atmosphere on the Saturday. And people, I know a lot of people have been complaining about like the setup and everything, and how it felt like it wasn't actually the World Championship but rather looked more like a glorified locals and whatnot. And I understand what you're saying. I understand where you're coming from. I do think it's a little bit sad how the World Championship is presented on the first day to the outside, right? I do get that. However, I want to say that from a player perspective, this stuff does not matter. And I mean, like, literally for us, the setup wasn't even that scuffed. I don't know if there's a picture of it. I don't know if there was a picture of the Master Duel setups going around. Like, I think for us it was completely okay, because it was literally just, I mean, we needed PC setups somewhere, and then we had so we could not see the other people. We had like little booths basically where we would sit, and it was completely okay. I didn't mind it at all. Here, I mean, okay, paper mats are a little bit weird. The only one that complained about it was Jessica, because she told me that she couldn't pick up the cards right with her nails, which was more like a funny story than like a serious complaint. I felt like, but I think anyone else, like, it doesn't really matter that much, you know. It doesn't really matter that much. But that was that. I mean, I guess, like, I the thing is, I don't know how it. I didn't experience watching the stream, right? I did not experience watching the stream from home. I don't know how it felt. I do think that, you know, it's like the first day of the event is like what a lot of people care about, and there's a lot of very good Yu-Gi-Oh being played, so there should be more spotlight on it. As a matter of fact, it's just they're putting a lot of spotlight on the final day, right? They're putting a lot of spotlight on the final day, which honestly, I'm gonna watch this opening ceremony in a bit because I haven't really seen it. But the I think the second day was really, really hype. The second day was really, really high quality production. The one thing that I have always felt a little weird about, but I mean, it's always been like that. I don't know why people keep complaining about it or keep expecting it differently, because this has always been like that on the first day, right? The one thing I'm sad about is it's only when I compare it to like other games where I know that, for example, the Pokemon World Championship is going to come up this week, and it's like that one is always like a super community event, right? It's super advertised, super big, has a lot more attendees than the Yu-Gi-Oh World Championship in terms of players as well, and it's just this whole ass community event, basically, where Yu-Gi-Oh Worlds doesn't feel like it's a community event. Pokemon Yu-Gi-Oh feels more like a very exclusive kind of thing that like the public doesn't really have access to, right? Where like in Pokemon, it's like everyone can be part of it, kind of like the experience is more like a community thing, right? And this feels very private, you know what I mean? And this just conveys that, right? This just conveys that from like from all the other aspects about this. I don't think this matters, right? It doesn't matter. To the players, it doesn't matter. To the players, it might even be better that way because it's a calmer environment. Like, it's really hard to play. It's very, very unusual to play on a stage like the one where we played the finals at. It's very, very nerve-wracking to play on a stage like that. So honestly, having the first rounds of Swiss and the top 4 being played in a quieter environment might even benefit the players, honestly, and might also benefit the quality of the gameplay, right? Because people might misplay a lot more if they're all put on a stage like that. But yeah, I mean, regardless, they could have put some fancier tables up, some fancier chairs, some banners in the back, but would that really change that much about it? I mean, maybe they're going to take the feedback and do it next year. I don't think it matters as much. I think people blow it out of proportion. That's the only thing. Like, I think, yeah, you can say, maybe they can do a little bit better, but I think it's just not that important, right? I mean, like, at the end of the day, just watch the stream. You should be focused on the gameplay anyways, rather than the background. Who cares if there's another Yu-Gi-Oh paper cutout? That's not what matters, right? Look at the gameplay. That's what's exciting, right? The exciting part about the Yu-Gi-Oh World Championship is not the freaking banners in the background, right? What's exciting about is that the gameplay that's happening, the decks that people come up with, the quality of gameplay on the feature matches, and that was all there, right? The important stuff was all there. Everything, the cosmetics of it are not as important, I feel like. Why can't it be both? It could be. It could be. I'm not saying the people that complained have completely invalid arguments. I'm not saying that. Not by no means. But it's just not that big of a deal, right? People are making a bigger deal out of it than it is, I feel like. All right. The stream overlay for the TCG looks tacky. I haven't seen it for the TCG. Hold up. Trading card game. I mean, yeah. What's so bad about it? What is so bad about this? Okay, no timer. All right, no timer. I can see that. That's annoying. But other than that, like, what did you expect? Okay, no timer, no deck names. I suppose they could have put like Sword Soul and Dragon Link down here. Fair enough. Could have done that. Could have put a timer here. Sure. Very minor things though, right? Very minor things, I feel like. Their hands, they could have put up the hands, yeah. They could have put up the hands, but I mean, the camera kept shaking. All right. I mean, I can't see that just from this moment. I can't see that for just from this moment, but I guess that could be a valid concern. I mean, look. I think I think it's fair criticism. Do you not know this is shaking? I mean, I haven't tried watching it. Okay, no, I do notice it. That is annoying. It's a little bit, it's not shaking, but it's like, you know, a little bit. No, I can see that. I can see that. Yeah, that's a little annoying. It's vibrating, yeah. I mean, look. Maybe it's just me because I look at it mostly from a competitor perspective. From like, when I see this, I'm more so imagining me sitting in the chair rather than watching the stream. Which is just, I guess that's due to my competitive nature, you know? And all I can see is that if I was playing in this event, I would not care about it at all. But maybe that's just because that's been like my situation for the last couple years. Like I haven't been watching Worlds in a while. So maybe it's hard for me to imagine. But I get it. I get it. I get it. I mean, I hope they take the feedback though. Was it the same in 2019? How was it in 2019? Okay, this is finals. Okay, this is better. Right? I mean, it's better in some ways. Right? It's better in some ways. The field is still very hard to see. I would argue what I would say is that the left and the right side of this screen are a lot better, right? The like cards in play, the names, the everything, the timer, the background, like the this is nicer, but the playing field itself is a lot worse, right? We also don't talk about this. We do not talk about what happened in this match. But yeah, I mean, they should have just zoomed in more onto the board, and they should have. The lighting is not ideal, but I mean, this setup was pretty good, I think. Yeah, so I think it has something to do with. I think it has something to do with the OCG being the ones that hold it. I've been to a couple worlds in Japan, and Japan is always like that. Japan is always the first day, or like the Swiss round portion of it, just really feels very like they want to do it as clean and efficient as possible, right? Make it as simple and efficient as they can, right? And for the players, honestly, that is fine, right? As a player, I've never minded it. I have never minded it. But yeah, it ends up looking on stream. It ends up looking like it does. Yeah, they just focus a lot of their. It just feels like they focus a lot of their budget on the Sunday, right? They just focus a lot on of their budget on the Sunday, right? That's the big deal for them. For them is like all eyes on the finals. Everything else just get it done with, right? Which is like, I guess, you know, as whatever. I want to watch the opening ceremony. Give me a second. I haven't seen it. I like the thing is, I want to say a few things about the opening ceremony at Worlds, because when this happened, like I remember the World Championship having this like crazy opening ceremony for like the day 2 of Worlds. It was like in 2019 specifically, I remember, because 2019 I bubbled with 3 and 2. I got like 10th place or something in when they did top 8. And so I was relatively close to topping in 2019. And then I remember as a competitor, honestly, watching the ceremony from the spectators, right? As a spectator watching the ceremony, it was really, really frustrating to me. It was very hard because you get all those feelings of like, damn, dude, they're making all this show for this final match, and you could be on that stage if you just performed a little bit better. You know, you were so close to getting there, and you just wanted so much, right? And so, like in 2019, watching this as a spectator is probably one of the hardest things I'd ever had to do in my Yu-Gi-Oh career. Like it's very hard. And then I can't even imagine how it would be if you lost in like top 4 or something, like being 1 win away from playing on the stage. So this year, the only thing I could think about when we were behind the stage when this played, when they did the opening ceremony and everything, that was the only thing I could think about. It was like, dude, I'm just so happy I don't have to watch this from as a spectator this year. I was like, I was so relieved about it. But I wasn't actually able to see it much. I was only able to hear it. That shit goes so hard, dude. I can't even explain what you feel when you stand. We stood behind this thingy. That's, man. Whew. Yeah. You can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want about day 1 production quality, dude. I think that day 2 makes up for it. That day 2 makes up for it. That is the reason we keep coming back to play and shit like that. Man. Can we normalize the phrase "it's the world champ difference" when you outplay an opponent? Isn't that Wolfie's thing? I don't know if we just get to take Wolfie's thing only because we are also a world champion now. I don't know if we just get the world champ difference as well. I don't know if we do. Ah, man. All right. Are you now focusing on TCG again? I guess we can talk about what's next, because they asked me that in the moment. Like we had interviews after, and they were like, "Yo, what's next? What's next on your list?" And I was like, "Dude, I don't even know. Uh, I don't even know. I haven't, I haven't thought about that." Um, but the more I think about it, I don't think it changes that much going forward. Like I'm still gonna compete. I'm still gonna especially compete in the TCG, of course, because there's simply more stuff going on in the TCG than there is in Master Duel, and I've always been more passionate about the TCG than Master Duel, which is like very, very, obvious that like Master Duel has been a thing since like 1.5 years, and the TCG has been a thing for my entire life. So I'm gonna keep competing in the TCG at the very least. Try to go back to Worlds again, and I mean, I'm still gonna compete in Master Duel as well because, like, I mean, I'm not gonna stop streaming anytime soon. So we're still gonna stream TCG. We're still gonna stream Master Duel. Winning Master Duel Worlds meant the world to me, but like, it doesn't mean I'm done with Yu-Gi-Oh. Why would I? I still love this game as much as before, or even more now, so I'm not gonna stop playing it. Obviously, as always, I'm gonna try and do my best in upcoming YCSs, try and go back to the World Championship for the TCG. Because, I mean, the way I feel, the TCG World Championship still, to me, feels even more prestigious as the Master Duel one. So that is something I will never stop dreaming of, right? Becoming the TCG World Champion. So that's what it's gonna be about. You know. So I think overall, surprisingly, it's not gonna change that much, right? It's not gonna change that much going forward. Like my life is probably gonna remain the same for the most part. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going anywhere, and that's that. I don't know. Talk about your card selling. I don't want to talk about my card selling. Okay, so the thing is, I don't have it anymore, and that's all, right? That's all, and that's fine. I feel good about that. The the memories, in all seriousness, the memories that are tied to this weekend, is something that I will never need. I will never need a prize card to remember this weekend, right? It is not tied to that card, right? It's not something I didn't go there. I did not go there to win that card, right? That is not what I was going for. Yeah. So, Also, I'm the one who gets the trophy. That is what people have been asking me about, right? Like, there's only one trophy for Master Duel. There's only one trophy for Master Duel, which the team leader gets. So, well, there we go. Team leader gets it. What is that? I don't have the trophy though. I don't have it. They're sending it. They're sending it because I think it gets engraved or something. I think it gets engraved with our names and then it gets sent to me. But yeah, the crazy thing is uh, once you get there, you realize that the physical stuff, it's surprisingly irrelevant. Once you actually get there, Like, I'm pretty sure the same is true for Quantla and Emra. I don't think they will need a trophy to remember what we did this weekend. Right? What is this?
Breaking news, Lumpy claims Josh is washed. Yeah, he just got carried. Like, he would have never won Worlds by himself. He just got carried so hard by Quantum and Emra, right? Has to be like that.
Okay. I see. I see how it is. Well, I mean, I will say I've tried on my own 4 times and it hasn't worked. I've tried on my own 4 times and it hasn't worked. So, yeah. I guess it is true. I guess it is true. We don't talk about the fact how Emra went 7-7, Quantal went 8-6, and I went 10-4, right? We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. There's definitely no carrying that happened at all. We definitely don't talk about any of those statistics. Who needs statistics? Who needs statistics like that? Yep. Quantal diff, Emre diff. No, it is fine. I do think this belongs to all 3 like in the same way. What are you saying, 0-3 in top 4? Quantal did not go 0-3 in top 4. Quantal won the last one. We 6-3'd them. Yeah, Quantal beat Koki. What was your thought process on picking Trish and Scarlet in a Naturia Runick? We talked about that like in detail earlier. It's gonna be up on YouTube. It's gonna be up on the VODs. No. Quantal didn't go 0-3 in top 4. No, Quantal went 0-3 in the second round, but that didn't. We were able to make up for it. In the finals, everyone went 2-1, which I think is good. Like that, I think that's cool. I think there's like no individual here in the team where you could say, hey, the others carried them in the finals. Everyone went 2-1. And that was great. Like legit, like everyone did the same amount of effort in the finals. Why does Macedol say you went 1-1 in the final? Well, technically I did. Right? Technically I did because the third game didn't finish. The third game was practically over, but the match finished before the last game finished. So that one, I guess I got carried. Yeah, if you guys want to be a little thing about it, you can say I got carried, yeah. Yeah, 1-1 in my books. Okay, yep, well. Yep. Pedantic. Yeah, I got carried. Yeah. I got carried. I got carried. I have some stuff from Japan that I can show you that I picked up. Also, I have I hope you forgive me, but we got a box of Duelist Nexus. Everyone got a box of Duelist Nexus, and I opened mine already because I wanted to. But I can show you what I pulled. My box was insane, by the way. Hold up. First of all, I got to keep this. Isn't that crazy? We got to keep it. Yo, I love it. My box was just this, right? My box was freaking Revolution Synchron, the Runick Fusion, and like the best ultras in the set. Ignore this one, but I got Chimera, Noir, and the Unchained, and Revolution Synchron. It was funny because I was arguing with Bowden and Jesse on the Friday, I think, at the welcome dinner, because I mean I had time because I couldn't eat. We were talking about how I thought that Duelist Nexus was a pretty cool set. I thought Duelist Nexus was a pretty cool set, and they said no, it sucks because you open it, you go neg. And I was like, I like that it has a lot of singles that are not as expensive, right? I like that a lot of, like, when you look at it from a player perspective and you don't have to you just buy the singles, it's very good, right? And then also I feel like the quarter century rares make up for your value when opening up sets. Like I agree, opening wise, like when you just open it for value, it's not the greatest set. But I don't think Yu-Gi-Oh sets should be made to be profitable for sellers who open a billion cases. I think it's fine for a set to just be good from a consumer perspective rather than a reseller's perspective. I don't think of it like, oh, I cannot open this set for infinite profit if I have thousands of dollars laying around. I think of it like, hey, I want to try some decks from this set and I don't have to be poor by doing that. I think that makes it a good set, honestly. I don't care about the opening value in this sense. Right? Like, this shit is not always... Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not responsible for being your best investment every 2 months because it makes everyone spend infinite money. Like, I like the set. And then I pulled a box that was worth more than it cost. So that was cool. We also got a legendary collection, like this one, right? Where I pulled the Blue Eyes and I got a Gate Guardian, but no other holos. Well, that was cool. What else did we get? I still have... like the world's participation stuff. You have the envelope here, which I still have. This one has... there's been one of these every year since I think 2017 or 2018. This year it's Dark Magician Girl and Magic Cylinder. I don't know if I'm gonna keep it yet. I might get rid of it. It's like it's a lot of money, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep it yet or not. Yeah, that's that. And then whenever you go to Japan, I have the mats too, which I also still have. The participation mats that everyone got is like... there was 3 mats this year, which is pretty good. This one is the Duel Links one. Which, honestly, when I looked at this one, the first thing I said, this thing looks like a Winamat. Like one of those that at a YCS you pick up for like 8 price points. This is what this looks like. But I mean, it says World Championship on it, so, you know, it's better than that. I mean, I guess Duel Links fans, Yuya fans will like it, so it's not terrible, but it does kind of have that Winamat feeling to it a little bit. This is the Master Duel one, which is the Blackwing. Hold up, this one is cool. For if you're a Blackwing fan, this one is hella clean, right? I really like the ones that just have like very simplified backgrounds, not that much going on, just a sick logo and a sick card on it. I like that concept for playmats. I'm a fan of that concept. Like, you know, you guys know I love the Light and Darkness Dragon mat and stuff like that. I think this one is also pretty cool. If you're a Blackwing fan, this one is sick. And then this one is the second/third place, fourth place price card on another mat, which is also a pretty cool card. I don't have the first place playmat anymore. I got rid of that. But this one is also pretty cool. It's a very cool card, I think. That one. I like the color scheme as well, like the gray, blue, silver-ish thingy. I like that's a pretty cool card, I think. So that's what I still have. Then I still have this one I picked up. This one is not part of the World's Prizing, but this is the YCS Osaka 2022 set, the Gigantic Sprite set. It has the Gigantic Sprite playmat, the sleeves, and a prismatic rare carrot. I picked that one up just because I wanted it. I traded it with one of the vendors. And one of the card shops, I got it. That's pretty cool. Then there's this thing, which is like that one was also part of our Worlds kit. It's like a commemorative set of like the legendary Magician of Dark, which you guys know is a special card in my heart for reasons we will not elaborate. And the legendary thingy Dragon of White. It has playmats, 2 playmats. It has oh, you would remember these, Lambie. Yeah, you would remember these. It has sleeves of both, which I think look hella dope. These look hella dope. And then it has replicas of both of those cards. So yeah, I have that set. I have 2 of those here. Because there was like, so one of them was in the bag that every player got, right? Everyone got one of those sets, right? But then there was also there was the opportunity to buy stuff at the tournament, right? At the World Championship, they had a booth where you could buy certain products, and this was one of them. This one was one of those, I think. And because the World's competitors wouldn't have the time, they would not have the time to go there during the event. They said, hey, we're going to give you a piece of paper with all the stuff that you could buy there, and you can tell us what you want, and you can buy it, right? And so we got the opportunity to also buy the stuff that they offered at the venue, right? But this one was limited to one per person. So I bought another one. So one was in my bag, and then I bought the other one that was limited to one per person at the venue, basically. So I have two of it. One of them I'm definitely going to keep. The other one I don't know yet. And then one other thing we could also pick up from that sheet that they sold at the venue was this deck box, which is, I think, very cool. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it yet, like what I'm going to use it for, but this deck box looks hella sick. You know, they sold that at the venue. It was pretty damn cool, I think, you know, so I have that. And then obviously we got the sleeves from Worlds, which I'm probably gonna use. I know these go for a lot. I have to check which ones go for how much and if it's worth using these, but I'm definitely gonna use some. I'm definitely gonna use some of these. I probably won't need all. I probably don't need all of them, but we'll see. I think that's it. Well, I guess that's it from like I bought some stuff at the card shops that wasn't part of Worlds or anything, but I picked up these, which I thought were really cool. Those are just sleeves with the back of like the obelisk Slifer Ra background from those, you know, I actually have them here, you know, these, right? Which I thought was really cool, right? They just have they have sleeves for it in the OCG, which is pretty cool. So I picked those up, just one pack of each. Back in the day, I sometimes would like bring home a bunch of those to just like give to friends or sell, but I wasn't about that this time around. I just wanted to pick some up for myself, so I picked up one pack of each. And I also picked up these because I think they look cool. The 25th anniversary quarter century sleeves in two colors for myself. Just for myself this time. And then I picked up these, which I don't know much about these, but apparently these are what people consider to be the best oversleeves. I haven't tried them yet. They're called broccoli sleeve protectors. I don't know. I found them in some shop and people said those are good, so I bought like 3 packs just to get. I got 3 packs just to try them out because technically I am really happy with the ones that I use. I'm really happy with the ones that I do use myself, like the, what is it, the dragon shields, right? I'm using dragon shields, I think, and I'm happy with those. But I figured I would try these. You know, I figured I would try these. And that's what I brought home with me. That's what it is. It's not that much, actually. It's not that much, but it's honest work. Any cards? Oh, yeah. Well, I have some cards I can show you. Hold up. Not much. Yeah. Okay, so. I have some cards. Yeah, hold up. So I have these, of course. My Maxx G's that I picked up at a card shop. I think these were like $8 or something for the super rares. Once I went to Japan, it struck me once more how freaking how crazy it is that they actually don't have cards that are super expensive. This does not have anything to do with Maxi, but just in general, for almost every single card. I saw freaking Baron de Fleurs for €1. I saw freaking all those cards, right? Because they have almost every single card has like really cheap versions and really expensive versions, right? Because they do like every card comes in like 3 or 4 different rarities, right? It's just so it's crazy to look at as a TCG player, right? But yeah, I have this one, which actually is quite cool because there was so how it worked on the Saturday is we had a setup where it was the 3 of us sitting at the table, and then every team in the Master Duel World Championship had, I think it was 2 tournament officials that were just looking after us, like telling us when we would start our duel, telling us when we could switch the deck, telling us everything, right? Taking care of us for the entire day, basically, right? And one of the tournament officials was like, he kept being very nice to us throughout the entire day, right? He was very nice to us the entire day. And before, I think, was it before the semifinals or before the 3rd round of Swiss, he came up to us and he gave each of us 1 card as like a lucky charm. That's what he said, right? He gave us 3 cards. He gave me Talents, he gave Quantal a Kit Kalos, and he gave Emra an Evenly Matched. Which was very nice of him, and I kept that. And then when on the Sunday after we won, that person came up to us to ask for a picture, right? He came up to us and asked for a picture, and then I was like, hold up for a second, I have your card with me. I took it out of my bag to take a picture with him, and he was so happy that I kept it and brought it to the finals and everything. He was so happy about it. It was so cute. And then we took a picture with them and their card and everything. It was very wholesome. So I'm gonna keep that. That's gonna be a nice memory. I have this, which is a Zark from Age of Overlord. The story behind this one is not that exciting. It's just that they had a deck of cards. When we went to the welcome dinner, they had a deck full of cards. And everyone would basically get 1 card before the welcome dinner. Everyone got 1 card from Age of Overlord. And then they would use that for like a prize drawing, right? They would draw a card. They had the same cards again, and they would draw one of it, and whoever had that card would win a prize, right? And so that's what the funny thing is that like there was everything in that set, right? Most people got commons, right? Some people got super rares, some people got ultra rares. Only very few got starlights, and I just got this one, which apparently is like $50 in the OCG, but I didn't bother selling it over there. I could have, but I didn't. I didn't win at anything at the giveaway though, so well, there's that. And then the rest here is just, I think it's premium pack, because we got one at the welcome dinner. Everyone got a box of premium pack. I have a Ray here. I pulled a Ray, and I pulled 2 Gateway of Chaos and 2 Dualities and 2 of the Blackwing thingy, but I pulled nothing crazy in this. It's just the Japanese premium pack box that I opened. Well, yeah. And that's all the cards I brought. The only other card here is the Snipe Hunter, but the Snipe Hunter I brought with me to Japan. The Snipe Hunter I already had with me when we went to Japan, so. And that's all I got. Except for this one. We got to keep this one. Like the little stands we had on the table, they also gave us next to the mouse pad. So I have that. So yeah, I guess that's it. That's the end of Worlds 2023. I could not have asked for a better World Championship 2023 experience altogether, honestly. It was very, very cool meeting everyone. I met a lot of old friends. I met a lot of new friends as well, including amazing people like Ryan Yu, who I've never had the pleasure of spending much time with in the past, but I got to this weekend, and it was very, very nice. A lot more other people as well that I've spent time with for the first time that were really, really nice. Steven Santoli as well. Literally had a super, super nice talk with Steven Santoli on the bus ride to the venue. He was a really nice guy. And then he ended up queuing Mathmech into the main event without telling me. Like, that dude literally sat next to me on the bus. I had the nicest talk with them. And then goes on to submit Maxx circular to the World Championships like half an hour later. That shit was unhinged. But anyways, bunch of very nice people at this tournament. Way too many to shout everyone out at once. But yeah. Chat, I think we're gonna wrap out the stream here because I still don't know what to tell you other than the stuff we already talked about. I have not much prepared for today. I am going to go on a, in my opinion, well-deserved vacation for a week. Before we hop off, I want to just say a huge thank you for everyone that rooted. I could feel over in Japan, I could feel all your support through social media, through all the different, like, you know, all the different means. It meant a lot to me. There was a lot of pressure on me this time because I knew all of you guys were rooting. Yeah, I could not be happier that I could really not be happier that it worked out. I don't think it has quite settled in yet with me that we did actually win the World Championships. It's a crazy thing to think about. But yeah, no, I appreciate every single one of you, and I guess we go back to reality now in like 1.5 weeks. We go back to just good old regular content creation. We'll see how it goes. I have a lot of plans for both TCG and Master Duel to keep creating content for you guys. I'm sure winning Worlds is gonna help. I'm sure winning Worlds is gonna help with content creation in the future. But yeah, I mean, thank you all for supporting. Thank you for coming through today. Thank you for all the follows, all the subs, as always. We're gonna call it a day here, and I'm just gonna be back after my vacation, and I will see all of you then. Thank you so much. Until then, bye bye everybody. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning into the stream, and of course, thank you for rooting over the weekend.